Call Planning Commission to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Amy Baker.
Here.
Mark Denny.
Here.
Alan Stork.
Here.
Jaden Bailey.
Here.
Will Smith is absent. Rocky Hempel.
Here.
Robert Owens, absent. Tom Dials.
Here.
Jeff Spink.
Here.
And I'm present, Stephen Rosenthal. So we have 8 members present. Do I have a motion on last meeting's minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Second.
Tom seconded. Motion on the floor with a second to approve the October minutes. Is written any discussion? Roll call vote. Amy Baker.
Yes.
Mark Denny.
Yes.
Alan Stork.
Yes.
Jaden Bailey.
Yes.
Rocky Hempel.
Abstain. Wasn't here.
You weren't, were you? Tom Dials.
Yes.
Jeff Spink.
Yes.
Motion carries 7 to 1 abstain. Secretary's report.
Good evening, Commissioners. On the agenda for you today, the consent agenda, there are 4 items, 2 of which have been continued, and there is one correction on the case DEV 21-164 High Prairie South. It should just be for the preliminary plat, not preliminary and final, as it's noted.
Which one is that again?
Number D on the consent agenda.
That's being continued anyway, right?
That's being continued anyway. We just wanted to make that correction, however. On the regular agenda, there are 7 items being considered. 2 cases do have post-agenda correspondence, which was left for you guys up before you got here today. So when we get to those cases, we will let you know that there should be correspondence from the public that we have received for you.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we received them. So
Right. Mm-hmm. And then in addition, there was one correction on the case map. The rezones were flipped, so the DEV 21-148 should have said request to rezone RR5 to RR 2.5. It says the rezone to B2 to B from B2 to B3, so that is just one final correction for you guys.
Okay, am I right in my book?
You are right in your book.
Okay, so I won't have to worry about
Nope.
going back. Okay.
Otherwise,
All right.
that is all for you guys today.
Okay. All right. Next thing I got administrative businesses that just left over from last time. Isn't it? Okay. All right. So we don't have to worry about that. Any declarations? Rocky?
Okay. I'm going to abstain from voting on because of a conflict of interest on DEV 21-163 Harmon Farm replat due to the conditions set by the county. I will be seeing that in my position as City Council of Tonganoxie.
All right. Anybody else have anything?
Chairman, I'm going to recuse or abstain from voting on 21-165, the CW Lawns special use permit extension. I have a long business and personal association with Casey Worrell and the Worrell family.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Okay. Do I have a motion on the agenda? There's one thing I want to mention. I don't think on the consent agenda, there's one plat on there. I don't think we need to pull it off the consent agenda, but I think I want to make note. In Kitty Hawk Estates, the water district does not have facilities to provide water at this time. And Amy, you said they were probably going to go with wells?
Wells, yeah, they are of a size that they would be allowed to be on well water.
Okay,
which-
well, there's nothing wrong with that. The lots are plenty big enough, and we've approved other ones with wells also. But I think it should be mentioned that there was not going to be water districts, so no fire hydrants will be coming anywhere in the near future, and probably not even in the distant future, since everybody's going to be in wells. There's no reason for the water district to extend it. So I just think it should be noted that they are going to be on well and not on rural water of any kind. So at this time anyway. So otherwise, I have a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
And Tom, you seconded.
Yes, sir.
This is on the agenda. We have a motion on the floor to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? A roll call vote. Amy Baker,
Yes.
Mark Denny,
Yes.
Alan Stark,
Yes.
Jaden Bailey,
Yes.
Will Smith. He's not here, is he? Rocky Hempel,
Yes.
Tom Dials,
Yes.
Jeff Spink.
Yes.
Motion carries
Extra.
8 to 0. Okay. All right, we'll start on with our first case, which will be DEV 21-130, vacation of a public drainage easement as outlined in the posted agenda. This is not a public hearing item. Staff report.
Good evening, Commissioners. Before you, you have case DEV 21130. This is a vacation for Lot 7 of the Pierce Division. Your agenda says the High Prairie Point South. That is incorrect. My apologies on that. But this is a vacation of an easement on the property. When the property was platted, it was platted with the orange, if you look at the screen, the orange easement. And as the lot was sold, the property owners wished to build a couple of their home and their accessory structures. Within that easement, they applied for to amend that easement, providing the private easement on the right or the green. They have since filed that easement with the deeds office, with the Register of Deeds, and they are wishing to remove the public easement. As stated in the report, according to Kansas statutes 58-2613, the Planning Commission has the authority to approve this, but it does have to go to a board, whether the Planning Commission or the Board of County Commissioners. In this case, Council said to come before the Planning Commission, before you. So we are looking for the approval. Staff recommends approval of the vacation. There are no comments from the county on this. Other than that, I stand open for any questions.
Okay, and they have the engineer report, and it's not going to affect any other neighbor, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Or let me say, I should say that Public Works accepted their.
Excuse me?
Public Works accepted the vacation of the easement. And the moving
Okay.
of the easement.
All right. Does the applicant wish to speak? The applicant's even here, is he? Who is the applicant?
Applicant is Schlegel and Associates. Last I heard that they.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you want to speak, or? Okay. All right. Is there any additional information to be presented?
No, sir.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments, Commissioners? I'll entertain a motion.
I think, looking at this case, the easement, it's at the original point it started at when it was moved, and it ends at the original point from where it was, so it's just moving it within the lot itself.
Correct.
Good. You ready for a motion?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that the proposed vacation of easement as outlined in case DEV 21-130 be approved, that the finding is set forth in staff report as adopted by Planning Commission and substantiated by the facts, testimony, and evidence presented be adopted by this board, and that the conditions set forth in the staff report be made part of this vacation of easement.
Second.
Motion on the floor with a second to approve case number, get back to my book, DEV 21-130, vacation of a public drainage easement. Is there any further discussion? We're the last ones to hear. This doesn't go to the commissioners, right? So remember that, everybody. This is our decision tonight. Is where your vote tonight is where it's at. So, if there's no further discussion, I have a roll call vote. Amy Baker,
Yes.
Mark Denny,
Yes.
Alan Stork,
Yes.
Jaden Bailey,
Yes.
Rocky Hempel,
Yes.
Tom Dials,
Yes.
Jeff Spink.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right. 7-0. Okay, moving right along. Leavenworth County, now here, case number DEV 21-161 and 162, preliminary final plat for Gray's Corner as outlined in the posted agenda. This is not a public hearing item. Staff report.
Good evening again. Before you is case number DEV 21-161 and 162. It is a proposal for a two-lot subdivision located at property located at 24450 171st Street. The property is zoned rural residential 2.5 acres. The current property in question is approximately 5 acres in size. They're proposing to split it into two parcels that would both equate to about 2.51 and 2.52 acre parcels respectively. This property is currently served by a private septic system. It is located in Fire District Number 1, Rural Water District Number 8, and it's serviced by Free State Electric. Currently, the property accesses off of 171st Street as their primary access, which Lot 1 would continue to access off of 171st Street. If this plat were approved, the second parcel would access off of McIntyre Road there on the south. You can see that field entrance there on the southeast corner of the property is approximately where they would be located. There is a third access at this point, and per our access management regulations, that would need to be approved because the property would then become 2.5 acres and they would be limited to one access per the lot, which is a condition in this, a staff recommended condition. The property is not located within 660 feet. Therefore, a septic waiver would be acceptable in this case, and staff is recommending that you guys do waive that. At the time of development, fire hydrants shall be required if the water district does require it, but they did notify us that they would not be able to support fire hydrants at this location, so they would have to follow that memorandum, which was included in your packet. In addition, there is an existing detached garage located there at the middle of the property that is 100 feet approximately from the center of the road. That is within the required 105-foot setback, so they would need to get an exception as part of this platting process for that setback. That does not meet. In addition, as you can see, the property line separating Lot 1 and Lot 2 in the proposed plat is not a straight line. Therefore, they would also need to receive an exception for that. Otherwise, staff is generally in support if those exceptions are approved by this body, as it does meet the rest of the regulations as outlined by the zoning and subdivision.
Okay, do you know why that line isn't straight? Because I don't like lines like that.
I think the applicant agent is in attendance, so he might be able to speak more on that. However, the way I understand it is they would like to keep that detached garage on the same lot as the house that currently is there. So to be able to accommodate keeping those two buildings together and keeping the building on the property, they had to create this lot line that looks like this.
And probably to maintain that they were each 2.5.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Fine, but the lines aren't straight, so.
Correct.
Okay. So they really didn't plan ahead when they started all this, did they?
The other option would be that the building would have to come down, I think, to make a straight line. I don't know if they could meet it any other way. I also wanted to let you know that this was one of the cases that did receive correspondence from the public after the agenda was sent out to you, so we did provide that for you.
Right.
So if you have any questions, that's kind of the end of my presentation. The rest of the analysis is in the report.
So that garage is why the line isn't straight, and it's why they need exception for the
setback.
setback, the same garage, correct?
Correct.
All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Any questions of staff?
Could you go ahead and list the findings and go through the findings if you would, please?
The conditions that we are proposing?
No, the findings of the proposed subdivision is consistent with the zoning.
Okay, yeah. The proposed subdivision is consistent with the zoning district of RR 2.5. Both parcels are 2.5 acres or greater. And then they also meet the lot to depth ratio requirements for that zoning district, or for lots of this size. Number two, the property is not within a sewer district boundary or is within 660 feet of an incorporated limits of a municipality. Therefore, the requirement for allowing private septic systems is supported by staff, meaning the septic waiver. Number three, at time of development, fire hydrants shall be required if water facilities are available. I said see condition number 5, which is the comment or memorandum from Rural Water District number 8. Number 4, the proposed subdivision is in alignment with the comprehensive plan. It is a 2.5 acre subdivision. This is zoned rural residential 2.5, so it meets that. Number 5, the existing detached garage on Lot 1 does not meet the required setback in Article 21. An exception will need to be granted for the setback of the detached garage. See condition number 6. Finding number 6, the proposed lot line layout between Lot 1 and 2 does not meet Article 50, Section 40.3.d, which requires a straight line. An exception will need to be granted for the proposed lot layout. See condition number 7.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Anything else from staff?
Do we have any pictures of the garage in question?
Not for the presentation, and it obviously wasn't included in that, but in the packet, if you look at the preliminary plat that was provided for you, it would show where it's at on the property.
Yeah, and there's an aerial. I just didn't know if there was.
Like an actual.
Yeah.
Any other questions of staff? Does the applicant wish to speak?
Good evening. Joe Herring Surveying, 315 North 5th Street. To answer some of the questions that have already came up, the line is not straight. It is to preserve the structure that is in place instead of tearing it down with the other option to get it a straight line. The goal was to originally keep it on the property to the east. That didn't work out, so they moved the line, and they're going to sell it with the existing house right there. During the process with staff, we had that discussion a lot through emails and follow-up, and I provided several plats where this has been allowed. Straight lines going to occur on every plat, whether we go around a building, a barn, floodplain. You know, we have several of these out in the county, and recent ones too. So we came across that. We did address that. They removed the structure off of the plat. They're going to remove the driveway. They did everything except remove this barn of value because it is a taxable unit that's a significant structure. And the goal was to keep that structure. Like I said, with what the house they're going to build on, but they ended up putting it on the side where they're going to sell that lot with the existing house. So here to answer any other questions or concerns you may have.
Any questions, concerns? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any additional information to be presented?
No.
Are there any questions or comments, commissioners? I don't like unstraight lots unless there's a real good reason for it, and that would be contour. You know, we've gone through creeks or that. Otherwise, I don't feel that, and this garage is causing 2 exceptions to this plat. I think the line should be straight myself, but that's my opinion. And if there's any other comments, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve this as staff recommends with their reasoning and with their restrictions.
Okay, we have a motion to approve.
Second it.
Now, then you cited the golden factors as outlined on the report, right? Okay. All right. Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve case number DEV 161 and 162, the pre and final plat of Gray's Corner. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote. Amy Baker.
Yes.
Mark Denny.
I think I'm going to vote no on this one, and it's because of that building, kind of like what you were talking about, Steve, is the causing not one but 2 exceptions. And it's kind of a man-made. If it was a floodplain or contours, I could get it, but it's a man-made structure, so I'm going to vote no on it.
Okay. Alan Stork.
Yes.
Jaden Bailey.
Yes.
Rocky Hempel.
Yes.
Tom Dials.
I think I'm also going to vote no for the same reason as that Mark articulated.
Jeff Spink.
Yes.
Okay, passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 2. The Board of County Commissioners will consider this item no earlier than the November 24th, 2001 meeting. The commission agenda is posted on the Leavenworth County website and is available for public viewing. Anyone wishing to attend the Board of County Commissioners meeting will give public comment will need to contact the Board of County Commissioners office prior to the meeting date, as space is limited. Okay. On and on. We're now here, case number DEV 21-163, final plat of Harmon Farms is outlined in the posted agenda. And you're going to abstain on this?
I'm going to excuse myself.
Okay.
I'll sit back now then.
Okay. Staff report?
This is case DEV 21-163, a replat of Harmon Farms, lots 6, 7, and 8. This is located at 22398 Honey Creek Road. This is at the intersection of 2440/Chieftain Road and Honey Creek Road, or County Road 1. This is a parcel that is, or a series of parcels that is roughly 40 acres in size. The surrounding property land usage consists of agricultural, residential, and industrial uses. The industrial uses lie within the city limits of Tonganoxie. This is a subdivision that is would be considered a Class A subdivision, meaning that it is one or more of the lots are located within 660 feet or an eighth of a mile of a city within the county, in this case Tonganoxie. As such, we did reach out to the city of Tonganoxie. In your packet, there was an email from George Brakievich, the city manager. And This is a request to divide these three lots into 4 lots, amending the property lines. I will bring up that in the findings presented in the case, staff said that the proposed subdivision is not consistent with the zoning districts of the mixed-use zoning district. This is true. As we were reviewing this case, we determined that there were some discrepancies between the access management policy as adopted and the regulations governing the planned mixed-use development. As such, though the proposed subdivision is not consistent with the zoning district, staff is recommending approval of this subdivision because we will be bringing forward a text amendment to mitigate some of the discrepancies. After discussion with Public Works, we determined that the access management for the County Road 1 corridor needed to be amended, and so that was what we will be bringing forward. Lastly, this property does, lot 8 currently does have 2 entrances. In the subdivision, there would be a proposed 2 entrances on 1 parcel, I believe lot 2. As required by Public Works, the property owner will have to remove access, the westernmost access to that lot and use the field entrance so that the property in the far western corner will be able to have access to Hunting Creek Road because they will not receive access to Chieftain/2440. Again, as I stated, staff is generally supportive of this subdivision with the exceptions written into the conditions. And I stand open for any more questions. The applicant agent is here, of course, and would also be willing to answer any questions you may have.
My main question is why we're hearing it at all. Why isn't this going to Tongi? They're going to be piling sewer and water to it, and it's adjacent to the city. Why are we hearing it at all? Why is that not going to the city of Tonganoxie?
Because the property is currently located within the county. They do not have to.
But it's adjacent to.
It is, correct.
And they are going to be applying sewer and water to it, correct?
That remains to be determined, but as of right now, the property owner is within his rights to subdivide the property going through the county, and so that is what they have done.
I don't know. I think that's a problem for future development. Any other questions of staff or anybody? Does the applicant wish to speak?
Joe Herring, here surveying 315 North Fifth. The city has replied to your concern directly of, possible annexation into the city, and that will be happening at the time of development of any of these lots, when and if that happens. This replat does not require it to go into the city. The city has replied, they've been addressed, they've made their comments, and the client is aware of them. So the only exception or condition is the removal of the existing driveway. We're going to move it farther east. So the new creation of the western lot will have access once Public Works gets their access management policy for the corridor approved.
So just to be clear, so they are wanting to be annexed into the city, or they haven't made up their minds?
I think at the time when they developed, they did put a restriction out there that the remaining 3 lots of this 4-lot replat will be used for commercial only. It will not be residential. And those development standards will most likely make sewer and water be provided by the city, and at that time, then the annexation will occur. And the city's aware of that. The city made the comment, and that's why we have that. So.
I just don't know why the city doesn't just take it on from the beginning and see what they want to approve instead of having us approve something and then.
The city actually stated in their letter they're good with the configuration. So They gave their blessing
Right now
within
they
the
are.
county, and the county just rezoned this area, so
Okay.
that's
But
what
at this point in time, do we have any clue of what the future development may hold?
No,
or it's
there
all
is-
perspective.
It's all perspective. It's all, there's an existing residential house on it, and that is to make that as small as possible to free up the most ground possible for future commercial development. And that's the reason for this replat.
Right. Any other questions of the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any additional information to be presented?
No, sir.
Are there any other questions or comments, commissioners? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve this case number DEB 21-163 as recommended by staff and with the restrictions as staff would recommend.
Tom seconded. Motion on the floor with a second to approve case number DEV 21-163, the final plat of Harmon Farms. Is there any further discussion? Have a roll call vote. Amy Baker.
Yes.
Mark Denny.
Yes.
Alan Stork.
Yes.
Jaden Bailey.
Yes.
Rocky's abstaining. Tom Dials.
Yes.
Jeff Spink.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. The Board of County Commissioners will consider this item no earlier than November 24th, 2001 meeting. The commission agenda is posted on the Leavenworth County website and is available for public viewing. Anyone wishing to attend the Board of County Commissioners meeting or to give public comment will need to contact the Board of County Commissioners office prior to the meeting as space is limited. Rocky, you coming?
Mr. Chairman, let the record reflect that I've joined the meeting again.
Okay. Welcome back. Now we consider case number DEV 20-160, special use permit for Forever Fencing as outlined in the posted agenda. Does require a public hearing. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person with the exception of the applicant, which is allowed 10 minutes. Staff report.
This is case DEV 21-160. This is for Forever Fencing. They are requesting the use of a contractor's yard. This is located at 25710 Donahue Road in Tonganoxie. The property is currently zoned RR5, and as per the future land use map of the comprehensive plan, the property is split designation, both residential estate, which is the 5-acre minimum, and then also the residential 2.5-acre minimum lots, which I believe I included in the packet as well. This property is accessed by Donahue Road, which is a local road. In considering the factors, we looked at the character of the neighborhood, where the character is primarily rural residential with some agricultural uses. The zoning of the nearby properties are RR5. The property is within an area that is suited for rural residences and agricultural uses. According to the regulations, this use would be allowed with an approval of a special use permit. The area is not likely to be detrimentally affected by allowing the applicant to establish a contractor's yard. The property is not vacant, and then the proposed use would allow a business to establish a storage yard, a contractor's yard on site for use of the business. The future land use map, as I said, does indicate this as residential and residential estate. And then due to that last finding or factor, staff recommendation is for denial of this special use permit. I would bring to mind the memo from code enforcement concerning the history of this case and the applicant. And then the property owner has indicated that they will be able to screen the storage area on site once the special use permit is, if the special use permit is approved. That is all I have. Let me also state that this special use permit is generally for their just storage of fencing materials and the trailers that they use in traveling to jobs and job sites. That would be what the use would be for. And now that is all the information I have, and I stand open for any questions. And the applicants are here.
They didn't come in before they started the business, is that correct?
Correct.
And they started the business. How did you find out that business was there?
I believe that according to the memo provided by Code Enforcement Officer Kyle Anderson, that the memo does not state, but I believe that it was brought to the county's attention through neighbors.
Was it a complaint or what?
Commissioner, the county actually initiated a codes court violation with respect to this matter for the operation of a business without a special use permit. The case was dismissed upon the representation by the applicants that they would follow through with the special use permit process, leading it to be before you this evening.
Okay. All right, but it sounded like it took a long time and twice in the codes court, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Any questions of staff before we continue? Okay. Looks like the applicants already come forward, so upon opening the comment portion of this hearing, those of you who wish to speak either for or against this item upon recognition will give your name and address each time begin to speak. This is necessary since the public hearing is being recorded. Will the applicant please come forward? And you are, so go ahead.
Yes, the applicant Raymond Reynolds on behalf and the owner of Forever Fencing, here with counsel Cayenne Caprice. We do have comment on the memorandum authored by Mr. Anderson on October 1st of 2021. My clients indicate to me that they did not receive any notification to be on court February 23rd, 2021, as indicated in that letter. However, when they did finally get notification, they did comply with everything and submitted the appropriate paperwork, and the case was dismissed. This case did not initiate or come to your attention through any neighbor complaint. All the neighbors are in support of Mr. Reynolds and Forever Fencing and what he proposes to do on the property through the special use permit if it is granted. There was a building put up that is mentioned in some of the paperwork that I have received. However, that building has nothing to do with Forever Fencing. So we wanted to make sure that you knew that. There are not any chemicals, any equipment or anything of that nature stored in that building. That is a building that is set aside for their personal use. What has been submitted as part of the special use permit sets forth in detail the hours of operation, which would not, we believe, upset or interfere with the privacy or peace and well-being of any of the neighbors. We do have a letter from Linda Guernsey, who could not drive here tonight. She would like the commission to consider this letter, so I'd like to give this to you. We have not opened it. She has just indicated that it's a letter in support of this, so we would like that read and considered as well.
You can read it. Go ahead and open it and read it. No reason to have a letter we don't read. Can you bring the conditions up on the screen?
In addition, let me also state that there were a number of letters received in support that are also included in the packet.
Yeah.
Okay, you want me to go ahead and read it?
If you want.
Or you can. You're more than welcome to.
Okay, it's refreshing. the special use permit. We are not able to attend in person. Our support is in favor of this permit. The material storage sets far back behind their house. It's not an eyesore. There are residents in the area have stored military vehicles, construction trailers, equipment, and junk cars. That's an eyesore, and it's Dennis and Linda Jury. I can hardly read their name. G-U-E-R-N-Y, is that right? Jury.
I think the letter's indicating other neighbors have the eyesores.
Other neighbors have the eyesores.
Okay. Yeah, other neighbors have eyesores, yeah. Okay. You guys want to pass it around?
Well, what I was going to do is give it to staff. They'll have it for the report.
The other comment I would make in reference to the question of why did it take so long to submit the special use permit, on 8/23/2018, there was a letter sent to my clients from a Melissa Johnson who was in code enforcement. I don't know if she is anymore or not. The wife to my client, who also helps run the business, on 8/27/2018 made a note that she actually called Melissa, and Melissa had indicated to her after their discussion that since there were no services at the address, no permit was needed and nothing needed to be submitted. So there may have been some misunderstanding, miscommunication, what have you, but that is part of what occurred. Yeah, and apparently Melissa gave the same information to, what's that neighbor's name?
Wes, he was going to open a
What's his last name?
Clark.
Wes Clark, who was trying to open some type of guttering business,
No,
or no,
guttering.
shooting range around the same area. So that happened to him, and he withdrew his idea to open up that shooting range, but that had occurred to at least one other neighbor.
In 2018.
All right. Anything else?
No.
You see the requirements on there if we pass the...
Yes, and he can comply with all of those, no problem.
All those?
Yes.
Okay. Right. And no question on any of them?
No.
Okay. Any other questions of the applicant?
I've just got one on the requirements. And, you know, we can sit here and debate whether you received notice, you didn't receive notice. But the bottom line is we have a letter with 7 or 8 different, we'll call them violations, problems, issues, going to court. Tell us why we should have any confidence that you're going to comply with those 8 regulations.
So I think what I would offer to the committee is that this is a business owner who's been in business since when?
Almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years. Certainly he understands what is required and not required. However, this is the first time he's gone through a special use permit situation. There was some miscommunication, as I indicated, back in 2018 after they received the letter and did then speak with Melissa Johnson. Some misunderstandings, whatever that is. So that did delay the paperwork. But now that they know what the requirements are, and the other thing, Mr. Denny, is now they have an attorney. So to help them with this process. A lot of times when people try to stumble through it or mumble through it themselves, they make mistakes. That will not be the case anymore. So I think that should give the county some assurances there. I practice in this county. I live in this county. I'm well familiar with SUP. I've had another individual that I've helped with that, so they will understand the requirements.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions of the applicant?
Yes, I do have, you say you've operated a business from this location for 20 years?
20 years, yeah.
From this location? And no problems with any of the neighbors apparently?
No, I actually spoke to every one of my neighbors. I called Joshua, and he gave me the email because it wasn't on the piece of paper. I gave the email to every one of my neighbors besides one that was a pedophile. I didn't want to speak to him. But every other neighbor said they were in favor and they was going to be sending emails. So. And I have a great reputation. If you Google me, you'll see I have a great reputation.
All right. Any other questions of the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here wishing to speak in opposition to this request? In opposition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this request? In favor of this request? Is there any additional information to be presented? Nope.
Yes, sir.
The public comment portion of this hearing is now closed. Are there any questions, commissioners? I'll entertain a motion. You're recommending denial, correct?
Correct.
And your reasoning for denial again specifically? The recommendation?
As laid out in the staff report, due to the recommendation, due to the guidance of the future land use map as part of the comprehensive plan, this indicates this is a residential area, and so therefore we are recommending denial.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a recommendation that we approve the special use permit. That's just exactly what it is, a special use. We've done it in the past. I'd recommend that we would limit it to 5 years renewal. I think it meets the golden rule factors. It's not going to hurt the neighborhood. The neighbors seem to be in support, and for those reasons, I would recommend that we grant special use permit.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion on the floor with a second to approve DEV 160 special use permit for contractor's yard forever fencing with staff recommendations 1 through 8. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote. Amy Baker.
No, and I would just say for a comprehensive plan, future land use.
I'm sorry, what did you say? Because we need to know, we didn't hear what she said.
She said.
I said no, because it does not meet the comprehensive plan and future land use.
Mark Danny.
I really want to vote no on this because of the issues that we've had. I'm a rules guy, and I think people should follow the rules or we shouldn't have them. That being said, I'm going to vote yes. I do think Alan brought up good points, and if it wasn't for that issue, I think I would have no problem voting for this. So I will vote yes to approve.
Ellen Stork.
Yes.
Jaden Bailey.
Yes.
Rocky Hempel.
I have a problem with the communication from all the way from 2000. I guess the year 18 up to 2021 and the timeline. I would like to find out why and what documentation we have to see why this happened, and maybe it'll help prevent it in the future. So I'm going to vote no for that reason.
No. Okay. Tom Dials.
I'm going to vote yes.
Jeff Spink.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries 5-2. The Board of County Commissioners will consider this item no earlier than December 1st, 2001 meeting. The commission, it is the first? Is that correct?
It is the first.
Okay, you've got the 1st and 8th here, and I just wanted to make sure. Okay. December 1st, 2001 meeting. The commission agenda is posted on the Leavenworth County website and is available for public viewing. Anyone wishing to be present for this meeting needs to call the Board of County Commissioners office to be put on the attendance list, as seating is limited. Any person wishing to file a protest petition must contact the Planning and Zoning Office. Protest petitions must be filed with Leavenworth County within 2 weeks of this meeting. To be valid, the protest petitions must be signed by owners 20% of the land area notification area. December 1st, same place, right here. Okay. Case number DEV 21-16. Oh, Tom, you're
Yeah, I'm going to recuse myself.
Okay. Case number DE 21-165, a special use permit for CW Lawns, as outlined in the posted agenda, requires a public hearing. Public comment limited to 3 minutes per person. Staff report.
Commissioners, DEV 21-165 is a renewal without change of an existing SUP located at 24619 163rd Street. The existing SUP which they are requesting a renewal for is for CW Lawns, which is a landscaping, lawn care, lawn maintenance, snow removal, and related business use as defined in our land use table. This use does require a special use permit in the zoning district, which is Rural Residential 5. The property in question is located in an area that is primarily residential and agricultural in nature. The property is currently accessed off of 163rd Street, which is a county local road, and it's a gravel surface. Factors to be considered. 1, character of the neighborhood. As mentioned, this is a primarily residential and rural area. The zoning districts surrounding this are Rural Residential 5. So that answers number 2. Number 3, suitability of the property for the uses to which it has been restricted. It is within an area that is suited for rural residential and agricultural use. The use is allowed with approval of a special use permit. Number 4, extent to which removal of the restrictions will detrimentally affect nearby property. Staff's analysis has determined that the area will most likely not be detrimentally affected if this SUP were approved. Number 5, length of time the property has been vacant. The property is not currently vacant, as you can see in that aerial. Number 6, relative gain to the economic development, public health, safety, and welfare. The proposed use will allow for a commercial business to continue operation within the county. Otherwise, staff does not see any negative to the public health, safety, or welfare for this request. Number 7, the conformance to the comprehensive plan. The future land use map, which as Josh has mentioned is a part of the comprehensive plan, indicates that this area is residential, so 3 units per acre, which is usually not compatible with commercial development. Therefore, under staff's recommendation, we are recommending denial. To go over some history of this property, CW Lawns has been in operation at this location since 2011. They have gone through the SUP process. I believe this is their 3rd time. Since their most recent renewal in 2016, our office did receive 4 complaints from neighbors. However, the applicant has addressed all those complaints, and as you can see in the memorandum from Kyle Anderson, it is currently in compliance with their SUP that is currently open at this time. With that, staff's full analysis is provided in the staff report, so if you have questions for us, please let us know.
You're recommending denial again because of the comprehensive plan, right?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, if I could offer an editorial comment. I believe at the joint meeting that you'll shortly have with the Board of County Commissioners, the idea of basically not bringing renewals of SUPs before the Planning Commission or the Board of County Commissioners is going to be discussed. As staff indicated to you, this is Mr. Worrell's 3rd visit to the Planning Commission for the special use permit. He'll shortly have a 3rd visit to the Board of County Commissioners. Commissioners intend to propose that renewals for special use permits, those already granted, would be approved on a staff level and continue without limit until such time as either the use was abandoned, in which case it ceases, or there were any substantial change in the use of the property or violation of the terms of the special use permit. I simply want to bring that to you because I know you hear a lot of renewals, and generally they're rather pro forma as far as in the absence of violations or the findings of violations. I think the belief of the board is that a special use permit should continue absent extraordinary circumstances. But these are for existing special use permits. And I think the balance will be that for future applications, consideration of the comprehensive plan should be given more weight.
Okay.
If I could just offer that.
All right. But as of right now, we're still proceeding on as we have been.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions of staff?
Well, I guess kind of going along with that, and we're talking in the hypothetical here, staff recommends denial on this. So if this was done at the staff level, we would deny it.
I think staff's denying it, or recommendation for denial, and please correct, is due to the fact that the comprehensive land use plan does not provide for it, even though it's been approved as a special use permit.
Right. And that was kind of my follow-up question is because, and I almost asked this on the previous one, but almost all of our special use permits are in violation or against the comprehensive, so we would never.
I think the direct or the consensus that the board is hoping to reach with the planning commission would be staff would be directed to, in essence, approve review special use permits, but only bring them before the board for revocation in the event there had been a substantial change in the use of the special use permit or violations of the terms of the special use permit. In which case, if either a substantial change took place or there were violations, it wouldn't sit for 5 years. It could be brought before the commission immediately.
Right. For that reason, and any new one, correct?
Yes.
The last one would be a new one because they never got one.
Right.
Can you put the requirements on there?
Yeah.
Right.
So if you
all
guys
new.
do recommend approval, these are the staff recommended conditions. I just wanted to note the applicant did request in his application for a period of 15 years at this time, given what Councilor Van Peers has just said to you, however. So.
All right. Okay. Any other questions of staff?
So then for clarification, the last one was a new SUP because there was never an SUP.
Correct. Yeah, that was a new one. Yeah. Even though they were running their business, they never had a special use permit for that. These people do have a special use permit, and it's been several years with it. So, okay. Upon opening the public comment portion of this hearing, those of you who wish to speak either for or against this item upon recognition would give name and address each time you begin to speak. This is necessary since the public hearing is being recorded. Will the applicant please come forward?
Casey Worrell, 24619 163rd Street, Leavenworth.
Okay. Do you have anything to add?
I have a question to ask. I can't hear very well with this system, but can I ask why it was recommended for denial?
Because of number 8, conformance with the future land use map. Your property is designated as residential, so a commercial style business.
Number 8 up there?
No, number 8 in the staff report, it's not up on the thing, but it's...
Which says what?
It's one of the factors that has to be considered for when we're reviewing items such as special use permits, and it says conformance to the comprehensive plan.
Right, and we went over that the first 2 times we renewed, correct?
Mm-hmm. However, since the last time you applied for a special use permit, the comprehensive plan has changed. So with the new comprehensive plan, it's not in conformance as staff has been
Oh,
reviewing.
I was unaware of that changing. I was unaware of the comprehensive plan, which I'm not sure I agree with that, but
Yeah, well,
I'm sure that's changed.
It's going to come up again, so we want everybody to give their opinion when we start. We're going to review it here pretty soon, and it's going to be reviewed every year, and we want public comment. And we
The comprehensive plan reviews every year?
Excuse me, yeah. This last comprehensive plan, we had lots and lots of meetings that we begged for comments from the citizens, and we got a lot, but we could have used a whole lot more. But please stay aware and check back, and when we do discuss the comprehensive plan, we want feedback. We want the public's opinion on what they want to see in our area and all
Sure.
kinds of things.
Can I ask a question? Is Is it, we want public opinion, and that's great, but is it the county or the board's idea to not want SUPs within the comprehensive plan?
I'm really not sure.
Well, Mr. Chairman, of course, and I don't want to belabor the point or
Yeah.
have a lecture on, by its very nature, special use permits are exceptions to the comprehensive plan and exceptions to zoning. They are allowed by law specifically. They're referred to as a rezoning, or they're considered for notice purposes as a rezoning. But you are allowed to handle requests for a special use permit. And the idea is that you would perhaps issue a special use permit rather than a rezoning to avoid spot zoning. And secondly, when you rezone, you grant a wide array of potential uses to the property. A special use permit is very narrow in its scope and can be limited, for example, by the conditions that have been proposed this evening. So that's just shortly why, even after the comprehensive plan is reviewed again, the special use permit process will still be in place to address those situations where the use doesn't fit the comprehensive plan, but a full rezoning may not be the best solution.
So we're going to have public meetings on this. Are they going to be here, or are they going to be somewhere else where we get
They will
the
be.
public?
There may be public hearings at different other locations, but I think you should anticipate that joint meetings will be conducted here, and probably all the primary meetings will be conducted here in the courthouse.
Yeah. So we will have public hearings on this and public meetings, and we want comment, and that's what we want.
I can only speak to my case individually, but I think as planning commission members, common sense tells me that the area that I'm in, I don't believe any rezoning is going to take place anytime soon.
No.
In my opinion. So
No, that would be.
we can have a
And
comprehensive plan.
we really don't want that to be rezoned. So that's the reason for special use permits. But again, special use permits are supposed to be for limited businesses and startup businesses. That's really what they're designed for. They're not really designed for big businesses and such. They should be going to commercial areas or industrial areas to do their business.
Oh, yeah, sure. Big businesses, for sure.
Right. So
Yeah,
that's
small
really why special uses are there for, but otherwise we do want any larger businesses to go into commercial and industrial areas. So anyway, but we want everybody's comment. And then
Yeah,
be sure to
I have
do
one
that.
more. I need to speak to one more thing for the complaints that were issued. They were all not founded to even be valid complaints, so I don't think they explained that
From
very
what
well.
was in
but-
the report, the report I read anyway, it seemed like that was the
Yeah,
case.
it's one person, and I think some people are already familiar with this. It's only been one person for the last 10 years, and none of the complaints have been founded to be anywhere close to being true.
All right. There's 14 requirements, conditions up on the board there. Have
I'm
you
under a lot of them,
reviewed all
yes.
And understand them all, and any questions on any of them?
We have for 10 years, and we've been abiding by it tooth and nail, and we pride ourselves in that because we have other neighbors out there who we respect. We respect all our neighbors, but we've followed those tooth and nail for 10 years, and we're asking to be able to follow them for another 15.
Okay. All right. Any questions of the applicant?
I have a question. What would this do to your business if you were denied? What would you have to do?
We could go out of business if we can't. We're struggling because of the global pandemic anyway. I mean, we're struggling. Employees, you guys are probably familiar. The employees come and go like the wind. So we're trying to transition to a commercial. It's been rocky to say the least, and we've been under this all these conditions. We have way more conditions than any other normal SUP. So we want to follow them because we don't want to go out of business. I mean, I got to work. I got a family to support. So it's either you get to work.
Do you plan
And,
on making any great expansion that's going to really change your business?
I'm sorry, say again, sir.
Do you have any plans for the future that are going to make a big change in your business?
No, when our first renewal, we tried to expand and get a few more employees. We tried that. It didn't work. So I don't mean we want to grow as people. We want to grow as a business, but I don't know how to do it. We're actually less employees now than we had in the beginning. So I mean, I'm not even trying to blame the pandemic, but we can't find anybody who wants to work. So if I can't work, I can't pay taxes no more.
Any other questions of the applicant?
Just one, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Worrell, I remember having this conversation last time you ran, is what Commissioner Stork brought up, is you were kind of anticipating maybe looking for a commercial commercial site to go to, but that's kind of we're cards now, or
we're trying, but
you're still looking. Okay.
Yeah.
And then my second one was, if we do grant this for the 15 years, or as council suggested, maybe in perpetuity, that it would be 6 employees would be your max. So you go one over and you're in violation. So is 6 looking 15 years down the road?
Yeah, as Mr. Van Parish stated, I mean, there's rules and policies in place to pull these just as quick as you guys hand them out.
So you're good with 6, I guess is what I'm asking. You're good with 6?
Yeah, I'd love to get to 6. I'm at 3 right now.
Okay.
2, including me.
Got
so
it.
I'd love to get more help.
Okay. Any other questions?
Not of the applicant, but I have a question for staff.
Okay, well, we can wait until
Okay.
we hear everybody. Any other questions of the applicant? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We will now hear from anyone wishing to speak in favor of this request. Anyone here wishing to speak in favor of this request? Anyone here wishing to speak in opposition to this request? In opposition? Is there any additional information to be presented?
No, there's not.
Public comment portion of this hearing is now closed. Are there any comments or questions, commissioners? Rocky, have at it.
One of the questions I had was fact is, I'd like to, if your staff could list the factors to be considered before we vote on it.
You want me to read them again?
Yes, this
Okay.
is a different case.
Do you want the factors that you are reviewing or staff's factors?
No, the factors to be considered.
Okay. The factors to
There's 8 of them.
Yes, there's 8. There's number 1 is character of the neighborhood. Number 2 is zoning and uses of nearby property. Number 3, suitability of the property for the uses to which it has been restricted. 4, extent to which removal of the restrictions will detrimentally affect nearby property. 5, length of time the property has been vacant as zoned. 6, relative gain to the economic development, public health, safety, and welfare. 7, conformance to the comprehensive plan. And then number 8 is staff's recommendation.
Okay.
Okay, so the only reason you run denial is number 7, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments, or I'll entertain a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to move that the proposed special use permit as outlined in case DEV 21-165 be approved, that the findings on the golden factors as set forth in the staff report as adopted by Planning Commission and substantiated by the facts, testimony, and evidence presented be adopted by this board, and that the conditions set forth staff report be made part of this special use permit.
Second. I'll give it to Amy. I actually heard her first.
Objection.
No objection, okay. I have a motion and a floor and a second to approve case number DEV 21-165, special use permit for CW Lawn. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, have a roll call vote. Amy Baker?
Yes.
Mark Denny?
Yes.
Ellen Stork?
Yes.
Jaden Bailey?
Yes.
Rocky Hempel?
Yes.
Tom Dials? Oh, he
He abstained.
abstained, that's right. Jeff Spink?
Yes.
And so that is going to be 6-1. Abstain?
4, 5, 6.
1, 2, 3, 4,
And one
5,
abstention.
6, and 1 abstain. Yep. The Board of County Commissioners will consider this item no earlier than December 1st, 2001 meeting. The commission agenda is posted on the Leavenworth County website and is available for public viewing. Anyone wishing to be present for the meeting needs to call the County Commissioner's office to be put on the attendance list. Any person wishing to file a protest petition must contact the Planning and Zoning Office. Protest petitions must be filed with Leavenworth County within 2 weeks of this meeting. To be valid, the protest petitions must be signed by owners of 20% land area notification area. Good luck to you, sir, and December 1st, right here at 9 a.m. Tom, enough time to get back up here, and we'll go on to the next one. Case number DEV 21-148, a rezoning request for RR5 zoning district to the RR 2.5 zoning district as outlined in the posted agenda. Does require a public hearing. Public comments limited to 3 minutes per person. Staff report.
Before you is case DEV 21-148. This is a rezoning for a property located on 246th Street in between Linwood and K32 and I-70. This is a property that is 10 acres in size, and the applicant is requesting to rezone from an RR5 to an RR 2.5 to facilitate the splitting off of property. Essentially the bare minimum of 2.5 from this parcel to create two parcels to use the home for parents, I believe, on this property. So this property is located within, is surrounded by properties that are zoned RR5. It is a rural neighborhood with agricultural uses. Character is affected by the presence of I-70, obviously to the north, and then the property is suitable to be developed at the 2.5 acre level. Should the Planning Commission and Board determine this is acceptable, the rezoning of the nearby property would not likely to detrimentally affect the nearby property. The property is vacant currently. Going back to through aerials, this property has been vacant for as long as we have had aerials. The pond was built in between 1954 and 1966. The rezoning would increase the opportunity for the subdivision and therefore development within the county. And then the future land use map indicates this as residential at the 2.5 acre minimum level. And then the recommendation for this rezoning request is for approval by staff. I stand open for questions. The applicant is here as well to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions of staff?
No.
One last thing, there is a letter in the packet before you speaking on this case. So.
Am I correct that with this rezone, this is kind of in the future, but if it was platted in terms of road frontage, it'd still only support 2, correct?
Two lots fronting 246th Street, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions, staff? Upon opening the public comment portion of this hearing, those of you who wish to speak either for or against this item upon recognition, give name and address, you can begin to speak. This is necessary since the public hearing is being recorded. Will the applicant please come forward?
Good evening. My name is Matt Groves. I'm the property owner. I live at 2307 Haversham Drive in Lawrence. And I guess I'm hopeful to be able to divide this property into 2 buildable properties with about 250 feet of road frontage for each. To be frank, to have my parents build a house next door to me. So The pond, it's a little bit of a difficult property to divide. It's not easy to divide this one 5 acres and 5 acres because of the pond. And so I've got a drawing of what I hope to do. It will include a diagonal line in order to keep the property of the pond on the 7.5 acre property. And I'm happy to share that with you if you'd like.
That'll come in the planning process.
Sure.
So just because we approve the rezone doesn't mean we approve the plat. So,
absolutely.
We'll have to go over that when that comes. This is just the rezoning, and maybe you never do it, but it's the plat. But all we're considering today is that this is proper for rezoning. Any questions of the applicant? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone present wishing to speak in favor of this request? In favor?
We're not sure yet. Ask some questions.
Well, or opposition, let's put it this way.
Either or opposition.
Go up there, please state your name and address, and we'll let you speak.
I am Adrienne Landry Donovan. I live at 12428 246th Street, the property that's adjacent to theirs. When we received the letter notifying us about this rezoning, our initial concern was a subdivision, right next to our property where we keep horses, and that's a big concern of ours. It's in the spot zoning. It's really hard on the infrastructure, and it kind of goes against the guiding principle of preserving rural spaces. But hearing today that it's going to be a man and his dad, just 2 houses, I feel differently about it. But I'm not sure how we can move forward with this rezoning with ensuring that we're not looking at a future subdivision.
Well, 2.5 acres have to have 200 feet of frontage, and I don't think you're going to have more frontage to do more than 2 lots on 10 acres.
That's why I was asking that specific question.
Okay.
Yeah. How much frontage is there?
500. Yeah.
500. So there's no
So we're not talking like 4 houses.
They can't have 4. They only can have 2.
Okay.
So.
This is my mom. She also lives on this property. Can she ask a question?
Okay, sure.
My family's lived at the ranch on 246th Street for 25 years.
And your name? Did you state your name?
I'm Mara Landry.
Okay.
And I'm very shy about this kind of stuff, so if you need to ask me questions, go ahead.
Okay.
So we have the 60 acres, and we love the place, and we've worked like crazy for the last 25 years to make it beautiful and a part of our family, and I think you probably noticed that. We raise horses. We provide lessons. The kids, we like to be able to ride down this dirt road, which is 246th Street, which would be done for those guys. So one of our concerns was would we still be able to safely use the road, because there's going to be more cars on it. Also, of course, increased housing would increase our property taxes. I guess we're okay with that. If we agree to this spot zoning change, I'm afraid of it opening up the door to other kinds of use for the property. And so when you go from the 5 acres to the 2.5 acres, is that going to invite other people to come and use the property to break it up into smaller pieces? We're agricultural and really would be unhappy about that. I actually think that you guys want to have that property, one for dad and one for the son. We're all family oriented. That's really important to us. But why do you have to divide it into 2.5 acres? Why can't you just have 2 houses on 10 acres?
Because you can't.
Because you can't. Legally.
Yeah. Yeah. But any of that area, our comprehensive plan shows it's 2.5 acres all around there. So any of the properties around there can be, at this point in time, be asked to convert it to 2.5 acre lots. Because our comprehensive plan, we were talking about the comprehensive plan a while ago.
Yeah.
Our new comprehensive plan shows that area as being 2.5 acres.
When did that get set up?
Oh, what was it, about a year ago or so? Yeah, finally after.
The 5 acre deal for 25 years. That we
Yeah.
could never cut it into smaller pieces and 5 acres.
Yeah.
And so I'm shocked to find that that's the case.
Well, I'm going to say the same thing as you, as I said to the other gentleman. When we talk about the comprehensive plan and we have our public meetings, come, voice your opinion. Please.
So just to be clear, they can't do more than 2 houses.
They cannot,
Okay.
because they just don't have the land to do it.
I think that resolves our concerns.
I do.
Yeah.
Can I see the picture of the division?
It's in your packet.
Yeah, it is in your packet. It is. There's a. I don't know how to describe it. There are a couple measurements on it, but it is in your packet. Again, that is preliminary. The applicant, if I may, did bring up the fact of the location of the pond would present numerous issues to divide this property any further and still maintain 2.5 acres.
Yeah, I know.
Those are
I know
issues
who
for
gets what.
planning, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
We've had them where they split the pond actually is divided into 2, and then there's an easement covered in how it's maintained and everything like that. That might be something you can consider, because down the road, when you and whoever does not own that might be a better answer than to make lines that go here and there and nobody actually knows where they're at when all the markers are gone and everything. So
Staff is generally not supportive of splitting property or splitting ponds, and so.
Oh, I know.
Well, correct. Generally speaking, we try to stay away from that.
Well,
That's
They did
absolutely
2 years ago because I bought the property.
Yeah. Well, they did, and I'd rather see a maintenance agreement supplied than trying to go around like that. I mean, it's going to be hard to do, like you said. So, but whatever gets approved, it's not what we're talking about today anyway. So.
And do you have a time frame when you're thinking?
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor or opposition to this request?
I was asking him what time frame he was thinking about possibly.
Okay.
This isn't an immediate, we're not going to be building immediately. This is, I would say, if I had to guess, I'd say between 5 and 10 years. There's a building site back around where the clearing in the southeast corner is, and then there's a nice building site up a little bit further east where all those cedars are that would need to be cleared, but both with views of the pond, and just because of the topography, there's 2 really nice building sites on this property, and so that's our hope.
And no intentions of selling once it's divided?
No, I hope to have both properties at least in the family for my lifetime.
That was
All right.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, sir. Is there any additional information to be presented?
Oh, yeah.
No, sir.
I got one on my house.
The public comment portion of this hearing is now closed. Are there any questions or comments, commissioners? I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to still have them go through the factors to be considered that we considered as planning commissioners.
Absolutely. So these factors that you consider when looking at rezonings are the character of the neighborhood, zoning and the uses of nearby property, the suitability of the property for the uses to which it has been restricted, extent to which removal of the restrictions will detrimentally affect nearby property, length of time the property has been vacant as zoned, relative gain to economic development, public health, safety, and welfare, conformance to the comprehensive plan, and staff's recommendation.
Thank you, staff.
Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. Let's see, we're on 150. Well, I thought we did.
148.
148, yeah, that's the one I had. Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that the proposed, rezone outlined in case DEV 21-148 be approved, that the findings on the golden factors as set forth in the staff report as adopted by Planning Commission and substantiated by the facts, testimony, evidence presented be adopted by this board, and that conditions set forth in the staff report be made part of this rezone.
Second.
Tom seconded. We have a motion on the floor with a second to approve case number DEV-21-148, rezoning request from R5 to R 2.5 acres on 246th Street. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote. Amy Baker.
Yes.
Mark Denny.
Yes.
Alan Stork.
Yes.
Jaden Bailey.
Yes.
Rocky Hempel.
Yes.
Tom Dials.
Yes.
And Jeff Spink.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. The Board of County Commissioners considers item no earlier than December 1st, 2001 meeting. The commission agenda is posted on the Leavenworth County website and is available for public viewing. Anyone wishing to be present for the meeting needs to call the Board of County Commissioners office to be put on the attendance list. Any person wishing to file a protest petition must contact the Planning and Zoning Office. Protest petitions must be filed with Leavenworth County within 2 weeks of this meeting. To be valid, the protest petitions must be signed by almost 20% of the land area in the notification area. CERT is going to be on December 1st, 9 a.m., right here, same place.
See, that's beautiful right there. All of this is very nice. It's all about.
And now, case number DV-21-155, a rezoning from B2 zoning district to B3 zoning district, as outlined in the posted agenda. Does require a public hearing. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person. Staff report.
All right, case number DEV 21-155 is a request to rezone the property located at 17800 State Avenue from its current designation as B2 to B3, which is a general business zoning district. The property in question is approximately 4.7 acres in size. It is a part of the Hills Estate subdivision. The surrounding properties are a mixture of uses that consist of residential, commercial, specifically office and storage, and then some agriculture when you go further north. The property is located at the northeast corner of the intersection at 178th Street and State Avenue. As far as access, I did want to point out that since this plat is part of the Hills Estate subdivision, that subdivision has restrictions on where properties can access off of. Currently, that access would be Bayside Drive. That road was never installed. So moving forward for this property, if it's rezoned, they would have to either replat the property to remove that access requirement or meet the requirements of that subdivision, which would be to install Bayside Drive and make some improvements to 178th Street if those improvements have not yet been made. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys. It was in the staff report.
That does not have anything to do with our rezoning, correct?
Nope, it doesn't have to do with the rezoning. I just wanted to make you guys aware of that situation.
Yes.
So as far as the findings, character of the neighborhood, as mentioned, this is a mixture of uses between commercial and residential. Zoning and uses of nearby property. The zoning there's a mixture of zoning districts. There's B2. There is RR 2.5 and B3, and as mentioned previously, there's a mixture of residential uses, commercial uses, and agricultural uses in the area. Suitability of the property for the uses for which it has been restricted. The property is within an area that is primarily commercial. The applicant had indicated that they intend to locate a commercial business on this property, specifically storage units. Which would be in keeping with the area of that and the suitability of the property for that type of development. Extent to which removal of the restrictions will detrimentally affect nearby property. The property, as mentioned, is currently adjacent to commercial, so there is no additional detrimental impacts on any surrounding neighbors that aren't currently within the neighborhood. 5, length of time the property has been vacant. The property has never been developed based off staff's review. So It has been vacant for a significant amount of time. Relative gain to the economic development. The proposed zoning will allow for commercial businesses to be located, and it could increase the tax base if it were developed. Conformance of the comprehensive plan. The future land use map indicates this area is mixed use. While B3 isn't necessarily the most compatible zoning district with the mixed use land use designation, since it is located adjacent to areas already zoned B3, staff is recommending approval of the plat, of the rezoning request. So if you have any further questions or comments, staff's full analysis in the staff report, and happy to answer those questions you may have.
But you did include the uses under B3, and it could be used for any of that. You said storage units, but it could be for anything that fits B3 zoning. It does not have to be for storage units, correct?
That is correct. Anything within that B3 zoning designation would be permitted if this rezone request were approved. The applicant, while they indicated storage units, does not actually have to install storage units if this rezoning were approved.
Any questions of staff?
The businesses adjacent to this property, do we have any clue what they are?
It looks like the one directly west is a kind of a distribution facility, but primarily office, it looks like from aerial views. To the north is obviously storage units. To the east is a house. To the south is other office type uses. And to the north is residential and agriculture.
I believe there's a horse hospital in there too.
Yeah, if you go further east, where the other B3 is there, around there is a veterinary horse hospital.
And then the other far right one was where Schmidt Lumber was. That's where all the combines and that are.
I was mainly just.
David, did you want to talk about the road?
I was going to say that there's a lot of traffic.
What's the name of this subdivision?
Hill Estates.
Hill Estates is rather benighted. The developer was supposed to build Bayside Road and did not. Unfortunately, at the time, for whatever reason, it was not enforced. A bond wasn't required. And consequently, you have a large parcel of ground on State Avenue, prime commercial development property that has a significant barrier to entry to it due to that road. Any rezoning that would facilitate development of that property, I think, would be beneficial to the county. Perhaps at some point in the future, Bayside Road will be built. I think more likely a substantial replanting of the property. But any rezoning that would make the use of the property more likely, again, I think would be economically beneficial to the community.
Any questions, staff, anybody? Okay. Upon the opening of public comment portion of this hearing, those of you who wish to speak either for or against this item upon recognition will give your name and address each time you begin to speak. This is necessary since the public hearing is being recorded. Will the applicant please come forward?
Joe Herring Surveying, 315 North 5th.
Have anything to add, Joe?
No, staff covered it quite well. Just looking to match the zoning across the street, and the goal is for storage units. That's what their plan is.
Okay. Any questions of the applicant? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here wishing to speak in favor or opposition of this request? Public comment portion of this hearing is now, is there any additional information to be presented?
No, sir.
Sorry. Public comment portion of this hearing is now closed. Are there any questions or comments, commissioners? Or I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the proposed rezone as outlined in case DEV 21-155 be approved, that the findings on the goal and factors as set forth in the staff report as adopted by the Planning Commission and substantiated by the facts, testimony, and evidence presented be adopted by this board, and that the conditions set forth in this staff report be made part of this rezoning.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor with a second to approve case number DEV 21-155 rezoning request from B2 zoning district to B3 zoning district. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote. Amy Baker.
Yes.
Mark Denny.
Yes.
Alan Stork.
Yes.
Jaden Bailey.
Yes.
Rocky Hempel.
Yes.
Tom Dials.
Yes.
Jeff Spink.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. The Board of County Commissioners were considered as item no earlier than December 1st, 2021 meeting. The commission agenda is posted on the Leavenworth County website and is available for public viewing. Anyone wishing to be present for the meeting needs to call the Board of County Commissioners office to be put on the attendance list. Any person wishing to file a protest petition must contact the Planning and Zoning Office. Petitions must be filed with Leavenworth County within 2 weeks of this meeting. To be valid, the protest petitions must be signed by owners of 20% of the landowner notification area. Good luck to you, and
Wherever you
anything else? We have a meeting next week.
We do. We have a joint study session with the Board of County Commissioners. It is over the comprehensive plan and other planning projects that staff has been working on.
So I hope everybody be able to attend that meeting. It's important that we get on the same page. Okay, we're adjourned.